So yesterday, at the end of class, we asked you to put your fingers together like this.
그래서 진짜 최고 값을 원주기 된다. 최고지 최송 소았을 야마 조마 파수디 내내주야.
And if this hand is pushing on this hand,
라베디 라베유메디 예베촐레마 비바이나스.
where are the forces?
슈크된조 거여레스. 유메디 예벌라 비바이나 슈 거여레스. On both.
There you feel a force on this hand and you feel a force on this hand.
슈크디 라바이예바 유마 칸딜 수레사. On both hands.
On both hands. Are they equal?
아니 슈크디 찍바 초르고 되사 칸딜레스. No, not equal.
They're not equal.
Some of them are saying equal.
Some of them are saying equal. But we all agree that there's a force in both hands.
이네 한참만 메투 요알라 슈크디 라와 총니가 리얼레디. 니가 리얼레디 메투 요.
Okay. We want you to take a few, maybe just 2 minutes, to go back to your group to revisit these 4 situations.
단나가라 주루가 수요양을라. 디 캬르도얀 단나이고니 네당 시요. 디 란자 케란주 초들 체다 까마숨 유스라.
Make sure that you have a drawing that represents all the ideas of your group.
딜라두가라 루가 찍나라다 삼수 민도 창메 메투 유직바 영시레야 민도 영시로 삼수 가주요 창마디 리무갈 마팝샤르치스 민도 니숨 가주 템바이나 창마디나 팝 리무나.
So you might have one set of arrows that represents the ideas of some members and another set of arrows that represent the ideas of other people in the group.
딜라두가라 슈기 디 슈크촌젤라 다든 치기요 다든 니요 에너리 시요 에너리 시투요 미숨타 가주요 에너디 다든 창마든 샤르치스 삼수 가주요 디 창마 리무갈.
You should all be sitting around a whiteboard right now.
다 키란조 단다 루칸나 슈라두가라 카르반키 라샤니 상마냠도 거고라 딘데신 슈고 제송구리.
Just a real quick comment. When you do this experiment and you're pushing on your 2 hands, focus on just your fingers, just your fingertips.
단단히라 최고지 체임바 라바니 디마 파주 네메주야 디츠레 디갑수 토낭 컬테 올라나 조 주구 이체 주구다 주구랑라 토낭 체우레스.
You can even just close your eyes and feel the pressure on your fingertips.
믹좀나이 단단 먼저 주구 이체 줘라 네모디 디건주기 단다 디가라 마누슈 줘라 디소수 초르구레스 믹좀바이네 초르구라 디 초구요레스.
You can even just do 2 fingers just to keep it simple.
따따 데우 치와이나 주구니라니 치와이나게 수수 체레스 제고디.
And if you go like this or like that and you close your eyes, do you feel a difference in the pressure, in the force?
믹좀니라 예베디 유메 촐라 비자타야다야 유메 예베 촐 비자타야 주라 디치 두갈아니 다 슈크다 딘조케한 믹좀 두갈 초구드스 직 만다와도시.
Go back to discussing now.
타온디 랑자양 케란조 초두 나버치스.
Good morning. So from listening into your conversations, we have a slightly different set of diagrams than we had yesterday.
Ta khiran zo thudur chyo gap so kamen nang ro di ani ma ya nyendu wala an thanda remote dis ta du wala tis chigyo manda dos dus.
So today, I think all the groups at least all the groups that I have seen, have two forces.
Ta thering dus ta du wala rugat sangmana dus kora gen ta du wala sangme gi ta chunji thanda shuk jora di tungyo di da du da ni shas.
Which means that Stamadis is exerting a force on Bryce, and Bryce is exerting a force on Stamadis.
Dila du khari puor lana Stamatis ki Bryce lo shuk haji gegi yume da Bryce ki Stamatis lo chu shuk haji gegi yume di ni chungyo res.
One way to think about that is to think about Stamadis's and Bryce's fingers as they are touching.
Ta khiran zo khari sam gugur lana Bryce da Stamatis khorani gi zugu ni yura di zugu pha su thuk de yo den de sam gugur res.
In all of these situations, both Stamadis's fingers and Bryce's fingers get white.
Ta nedang shi yo di changma nang la khari chungur lawa na pha su bigu yura ta di bidu gala ni Stamatis da Bryce ki zugu ni ga manem du gala ni zugu kaw chai jo di chai yo res.
Both fingers get squished.
Dila du zugu ni ga pha su nem du gal chi ruora chirgi yo res.
So then we have evidence that both of them exert forces on each other.
Dila du gala ni di khari pangda tungyo la na zu kaw chai di pha su ni ga shuk ge yo chungyo yo res.
The place where we disagree among the groups, there is disagreement among the groups, is about the relative sizes of those forces.
Ta thanda ruga changma na le da shugi chunje da ni da dus ina khari kheba dud la na khoran jo pinju gi shugi da cheju ra di kheba dus.
And so we have some groups that say that Stamadis, who is bigger, exerts a larger force,
Ruga khashi khari shi du se wa na thanda Stamatis khoran chewa yodu khoran gi shuk manga ge shuk chewa ge la jura di shi dus.
or the person who is next to the wall is helped by the wall to exert a greater force than the other person.
Anchi khari shi la na chikba la ni di yo ne dang jua di indu gal chikba ni di la ani shuk thanda chikbe shuk di dom ni shuk manga gya thur la jura shuk chewa gya thur la shi dus.
And we have another group that says that no, in all four situations, the forces are equal to each other. In all four cases, yes, the two forces are equal to each other.
Khashi khari shi du se wa na ne dang shiga na la shuk ni yora pinju shuk chikba chi kya re la ne dang shija la di thishas.
So one thing that I would like us to think about is to think about evidence for the force and separate that from the subsequent motion.
Ta thanda kiran so ichi khari chi gu la na ta shuk yore lan pangda jora di da ani yogu chi jo jora di kingi di ni phalo lo su ye gu res.
Let me give you an example.
Ta pesu roji shawa inas.
Is it possible for me to exert a force on the whiteboard, but for the whiteboard not to move?
Dila du ngegi ta pesu di dirda ngegi thanda shuk gya wa inas di karban digala shuk gya che ani karban di yogu machi wa chini shuk gya tu res. Yogu me shuk gya tu mare. Yes. Okay.
So it is possible to exert a force on the whiteboard, yet the whiteboard is not going to move.
Dila du gala shuk gya tu ruas karban gujo matan che shuk gya yo ruas shuk gya tu res.
What would happen if I take a smaller whiteboard and I exerted the same force on the smaller whiteboard?
Ta thanda karban che la shuk gya so chikba shuk tharan shuk chi jung tharan gi yang karban chunga dil gya wa inas.
This would move.
Di gujo tang ruas.
So what can I say that because that moved, but this did not move, the force that I exerted on that one was bigger than the force that I exerted on this one?
Dila dugala tanda shuk gyu di tanda dela echi gyare phajo chunga dila gyara di bu yo ta maris phajo di chunga di bu yo ta so dila dugala ni gi shuk gyu di chunga di shuk manga gya res.
No. I could have my pull meter pull with the same extension on both of them.
Dila du tanda ngajo shuk tanda di che gya jua tanda jelche di chiwaina di niga lakta wainas.
I could attach the string here and stretch the rubber band 10 centimeters.
Ta tanda ngajo jelche jua di dela kuba di dela ta che ani thengyo di thendu ko centimeter chu thembainas.
And this may not move.
Thembaina ani di centimeter chu thengra thendu ko di carbon di gujo tang masio tang chishna tang mares.
And then I would attach the pull meter with a stretch of 10 centimeters again, and that would move.
Ya tanda jelche jua thagaran shuk tanda centimeter chu then jua thagaran thembaina carbon chunga di gujo tang res.
So then we need to think about the evidence of equality of forces, not just based on the motion of objects.
Dila dugala nganzo pangda len jura di yogu chidu chibidu jibu mata ni tanda ngaran so da pangda shimba gyuni tanda gyurim shimba ni len yures.
Do you agree?
Ni kyan samo medu yures di.
So, what evidence do I have when I attach my pull meter here and there that the force that I'm exerting is the same?
Ta pangda khari yures tanda ngi tanda jelche jura di pheju chini ta shuk chiba chiken gyagi du lai jura di nganzo pangda khari yures jelche di pheju chibaina.
di 직접 구하기가 지진 여기 지진을 구하기 위해서 뒤쪽으로 찍다 뒤쪽으로 찍다니 와서 대비 찍어지죠 뒤집어 시가도 대만이 나요 뭐 찍어지는 거를.
By looking at the mirror, the measurement.
I'm looking at the stretch of the rubber band, right? Yes.
Tanda di cha shawana gig thingdo gig khaju the me di tagi roas.
If the rubber band stretches the same here and there, then I'm exerting the same force.
Ta gig ta ma nare jura di del khagas nargi yo di phagi la khagas nargi yo chikba chikya ina an shuk chikba gyagi yo chungu roas.
Do we agree?
Sama medu yo este.
So then, we cannot necessarily use the motion of Bryce or Stamatis to decide about the forces. We cannot use the motion of Bryce or Stamatis to decide about the forces.
Ta dila du gala nganju gi ta tanda shuk kan thaju che jura di price customers yugu khaju chigi me dila ral yu mares.
So we need some more experiments.
Dila du gala digala tarche thandu nembe gugu yo roas.
Shall we do the...
Yes.
Okay.
So we've been noticing that some of the monks are quite big.
Tangje dinde tunang chonsos dinang la kusho khashe chimbu shudus.
So, okay, I'm just making some jokes. So before we have lunch,
Shela ma pengu las.
we want to see how much each of you weigh.
Shela ma pengu na kiran zu jise khaju du di chikta is.
So I'm just joking. What is this?
Di khare res for chala chikta.
It's a weight scale. And what do you use this for?
Di pheju kharil chigi res.
To check your weight, right? So everyone has used this before, right?
Changme pheju chenyong roas di. Yes.
So what is the relationship between weight and force?
Jigo da jise da yora ani shukla ani khorani para dio khari res. jise yora jigo wave da ani thanda shuk yora force dini para deo hari yores jise se de so one of the monks is saying weight like is related to gravitational force.
Weight is related to gravitational force, okay?
Ani so heavier the weight, the more weight, like heavier the object is, it has more force.
The heavier the object, the more force. Okay, so we're going to show you an activity that you guys will do, but first Stamatis and I will demonstrate it.
The kiranzu thanda chegoji cheresra di machingo lani gelagurani ge ma pyongos khandis chugu yudi.
But can I point something out? You can see this. I don't need to step on this.
Inji mi digal zagu marwas.
I can just squeeze it, right?
Nemna dirwas ma session.
I can apply a force just by pushing on this,
Dil ma buba inage shuk gaya rwas digal.
right? So this is used to measure our weight, but we can also use this to measure a force.
Di nganzu jise kya rwa ya jigo khazu me ta res. Thana shi nganzu shuk khazu me ge yan se gaya rwas digal.
How will we know if the forces that we are exerting are equal?
Ta thanda phatsu shuk ge rwa rani. Di shuk ge do shuk di chikpare lan khandes ha ku res nganzu. Khachu res. Di shani. So use this weight scale and push each other and
Okay.
flip the scale and then we'll get to know.
So then if the reading on the scale is the same, then we will be exerting equal forces. If it is not the same, we will be exerting different forces.
Di la di thana ngajo di yoje di pejo chira jise kya di. Di pejo shidu gal phatsu bigya tandu gala kesi chikpa chikyang thungu yo ina chu chikpa imba ina kurani ga shuk chikpa yegi yo ha buras. Kesi loga imba ina chejura. Di chikpa ma imba ina ani kurani shuk di chejung yo ha buras.
If my reading, the reading on my scale is smaller than the reading on Bryce's scale, which force will be greater?
Ta thanda kurani ga thanda yoje chik chik ju yora. Di ta du kesi angi di ta du gala stamatus studio di kesi angi chunga thungu yo na ra ma imba ina ani su shuk ma ge yo churgu ha buras. Kesi dijo angi judwa ma yimba ina shu khajo ni che yores khajo ni weaker force on this side,
So
more force from that side.
your number's
Right,
smaller,
the
right?
stamatus ka ji shu di khar stamatus ki angi di ma inar da shu khandi di che re chuair. Okay, most of them are saying like more force on this side, but few of them are saying like less force.
So his number is smaller than my number.
Ta angi ta du gala phajo di chunga yores ra shuk gya du onde ta shuk gya jo ga ji thungo ra shuk che khandi yore la phajo di shuk che ge yore yana di jo di shuk che ge yore khandi cha ge yores angi kesi phagi di chunga thungo na di shuk che yore. So this when this reading is smaller, so they're saying like force is more over on this side.
So my force is stronger.
Ta kiranzu shuk di jo manga yor la du gala ngi shuk manga ge yor la war walas re mare no.
No?
He is exerting more force.
He's exerting more force. Your thing is larger than mine.
My number is smaller than yours.
Okay.
Okay. First, we need to see if they are similar scales.
Thangbo kharit tagir lana dingi thanda che jelche ra niga chikba rasung due tai res ra.
So we are going to have Bryce step on both scales and see if the number is the same.
Ta di chikba re due tai la Bryce dingi gal za ani 지고디 찍버지 그냥 둥구도에 세디 따오스.
Maybe we get a monk to volunteer because they shouldn't believe what we say.
다 걔 말에 브라이스 코란 라디오 디킨서 이치기 여기 말 제자 아니 고쇼 넘바 키란즈니 찍페다스디.
We need one monk to come and share the results because maybe we will not be telling the truth.
다 먼저 찍스나야 오늘 라 킨저 이치기 말라서 오늘 라고 미디 제자 키란즈 표로 치서 찍.
We have a volunteer. There we go.
당란
Two
찍겠어.
volunteers.
당란이도 빼아보듯.
Okay, now I have to go on a diet.
아니 다 브라이스 지고 껴야 해서 길라.
Thank you for volunteering me for this.
다 시야서 길라. 가주르.
What number?
가주르 셔사지세.
89.
Wait, do you guys agree? Do you two agree?
굽주르 라서 무슨 킬로 굽주르 셔스.
90. Okay. Timo, Mongpo. Well, they're not quite. Chikma, it's a little bit different.
This 만들어 문제에서.
아, 세기까지 좀. 89.
Chikma?
인도 찍고 찍게 해야 돼.
Chikma? Peyakbo. Okay, same. All right. Okay, stay here. I think we're going to need you some more.
찍시는 고글에서 그냥 뜻이 상.
So you'll read this one, and you will read this one.
This year 단계 가지고 들려야
Be careful of this knob here, because you'll tweak the.
Okay.
시야서 안기디.
10. Are you measuring 10?
Yeah. What are you measuring?
가주르셔서 그냥.
9.
9.
What are you at?
9.
Loudly.
This is less than 9.
A little bit less than 9.
걔라 가주르셔 찍시다.
10.
근데 카토 쓰고 걔마우디 카토.
तुम्हारे साग गुंडा वाला
나.
साग गुंडा वाला
걔라 나다 주파라 키마도 아니 듀스 빈데 차스 타야 말레스.
Okay.
가주르셔서 그냥.
About what?
또 주르.
8, 9. It's changing, but what is it around?
다 가주르르셔서 걔 롭스르 쉬어나. 가주르셔. 가주르셔 그래.
정아 주주
파주 가주르.
Get close so you can read it.
주주 정아
12. Chunga.
정아
말이 결정은 dir 기본 높으들.
Ask him to get closer so you can actually see it.
담담 시다서 걔라 가보시.
조성
Chusum? Chusum?
Oh, they got 12.
Wait. So what did you have? What was the last number?
안기디 가주르셔 타마스.
Chusum. So same number. So what does that mean?
다든다 코라니가 있어. 타마딜 조금 러시아 송사 슈게데. 안딜라도 가르치는 게 요레스. Means both the forces are equal.
Same forces are equal.
I want to push harder.
Really?
Yeah.
다 연병아 슈체게 있어. 스타무스.
But he's bigger than me.
나라니 도에나 코란체도스.
Do you think he can push with more force than I can push back?
도스타도 갈라 슈게이라 키란주 삼발라 코이 다 코체도 코이 슈마 갸투레 삼부도스.
Really?
Yes.
니시장아 자두
Wait, so what was your number?
안기 가져시게 타마디. Okay, the maximum
25?
was 25.
And
장아
25.
25. So Samadis
거시장아 차지. 디와라 짜지다 짜선데.
was pushing with the same force I was pushing.
Dila du gala tomatoes ki shu khaju gya na shi ngarang ki shu gya roas.
So we want you to try this.
Ta thanda Quran so idnang so di chego de ni khiran su ngoi ni na is.
You want to be careful when you're holding this because there's a little dial here that adjusts the scale.
Ta di tha thanda chego di chidu gal bugya tang do. Di tang du gala sab chiro chis khala na di yam ma dige dir do. Di tig du gala ya angi yam ma thuk du do. Di gal lago cha yo mares. Pogosh do akila.
If you accidentally turn that, then you will get strange results.
Di la du gala di yam ma thu wa na ani dumde di tak da thung mara thuk du res.
So hold it from the sides.
Di la du gal di tha ni juro chis ko de lago ma chani.
And then slowly push against each other so you
Without touching the top.
without touching the top. Yeah.
Dila du ya bigura penju bidu gal di che dila la ma chang ro chis cha yo mares che dila.
Okay? So we only have 8-10 scales. You'll have to work in big groups.
Dila du gal thanda jise kya is do di yoje di ge re chu ri chi yores dila du gal ani ruga che ro su gu yores tang mara shim ba bu sha na ruga ges chu su na ta da che ra
Okay?
khazu ri chu yore dil pa bi ruga so ra ale ruga ges su na ende yoje ge do.
Make sure that the scales that you're going to be working with are calibrated.
kiran zo di thanda di pheju chi ro di pheju chi du gala ni tak da dig ni chiro chis thangbo go chu du lego ni go chu go ra thanda dige de chu go lego ni go chu.
So when you get a scale, you might need to calibrate it and make sure it's at 0.
Ta di kesi khashi thuk de yo do thuk de no di wa go go di dige do dig ni lego la tak da sharo chis ra lego ni go chu ro chis.
Oh, grandmaso.
Oh gela na mo sa
We're going to give you some more time to do this experiment with the scales.
thanda di jise kya ju di gi ta che di chel jel tu zu ma te gosra.
But we want to introduce to you another experiment you can also try.
ine ya ta che shimba ji khiran zu la ngo che yin sti khiran zu china digres.
Yesterday, we made our force meters.
Kesa nganzu di jelche di swe ruasra shuk jelche di.
And you can also buy force meters from the store. They look like this.
Kesa di ngaran zu swe ra shuk jelche di. Thang na shi ani songa ni nyu yores thaga tede ro jores.
And we'll pass these out so you can see them. They have a little spring inside.
The songa ni nyu den zu la nanglo la thanda spring ju ya tede yores.
And as you pull, you can press the spring, and there's a meter here, and you can read how strong the force is.
Dila du ma shuk ge ra di shuk ge du gal di gala ni thik di gal I angi indite do di mirror di yores che je di. Dil ta du shuk haju ge me che je yores.
The spring in this is like what on the pole meter?
Ta thanda di nanglo la spring ji dos di yuje na la. Di yuje na spring yo na shi di jelchi na ta na spring di cha sung wa khandi cha de yores. Rubber band.
The rubber band. So we can connect two of these spring meters, or we're using different words that mean the same thing, but this also measures force.
Dila du thanda di na la spring mirror le do thange loga pheje chi yores hine kharir la na so lega chi pa chi yores di thanda shuk che je di cha de yores.
You notice I erased everything on the board but this word.
Ta khari korshe de la na so thanda ngajo di gal thi she jo thange shi do di borshi yores.
I don't think we'll erase that word for many days.
Ta di nyimo mangbo ji ngajo di thange di sugu mes sha sha ins.
So I can pull and Stamatis can pull.
Dilo du pa su bryce ke the yore tha na systemaris ke the yores di.
Or right now I'm not doing anything. I'm just holding and Stamatis is pulling.
Ta thanda ne gab di ta wa ina ne dang dila bryce ke khegu chi mes ra thing mi do systemaris ke the yores.
I'm acting like a hook in the wall.
Dila do ngara thanda chikpa la hook rika changsa juya de ro shin de res.
Or I can pull, and someone else can pull.
Ta phasu niga price the stomachs niga ithen res thendu.
So we're going to pass these out, and we want you to do the same experiment.
Di tarjesh do chikpa chigyan kheran zunguni na is di yoje di matangi is thana.
And you can look at the number and compare the number here to the number there.
Dila do shul cheje di thanda dinal kharir angi tesha do di angi di tani ni cheje res.
Same number.
Angi chikpa re do as phasu niga chujo them bai na re ka pha the so.
Same number.
Phasu niga thanda cheje chi de che chikpa thungu.
Try that.
Di kheran zunguni na res ta.
I want to make sure all of you do this experiment when
Tadi gelap thare sungus na changma di tachi di nauru ches.
move with me. When you're moving,
Kheran gudyo tang wake up sos ra.
okay?
Tachi di chik ra. Gudyo tang wake up sori da.
And notice the value of the force.
Di la du gala shu gi che jora di khajo me thonang chiru ches.
Make sure everybody gets a chance to try that experiment.
Tachi di thanda gudyo tang changma thanda shu ni nang so. Gudyo tang ni nang di changma nang ro ches di tachi di.
얘는 기름 맞추니까
Mamchu machi. Mamchu machi.
내가 니같이 니가 화캠바되고 니같이 연구와 니같이 처 연구와이나 아 탱기 뭐 디기 식데 니고는 청구를 마더라 니 계좌 그지오라 디기 식까지 땅에 주는 거 봐라
Kande sala chodi. Kanda dinde si gela itingi ra. Ta sa na o.
니 파트너이나 너 친구가 너 판도가 식지오라 식까지 판도이나 돼. 아 탱기 뭐 디기 식지된 정도를 마더라 뭐 뭐는 식자가 주는 거 봐라
So his question is, if you like hang this on a hook, so if he pulls it, so this measurement just shows the force like exerted by him, pull exerted by him, not from the other end.
니 니까지 파 식지지도 차
Okay.
Diniga hare,
데니 판도 이번 언제 찍만 이면 니까지 초기 태에는 초기식 대지만 나도 파도 다섯 시에 하고 오면
so he said like whatever measurement he reads, he feels that it is the force exerted by him only, not from the other end. Kajuni shukje yo mares shuk kajo thema di kerangi ge yo chedi samma kerangi shuk ge yo dress na ora.
내가 시작하라 근데 그대로 태자라 니 태자고 니 노는 거 파르스는 니까지 니 라반 니가 싫어 봐
Be the joy yo mares. So he say it's not related to the other end because he's exerting force at this moment. So the force is like exerted from this end only.
So, right now, the force that I'm exerting on the force that this one is exerting on that one is measured on which of the two spring meters?
The pesha na lasra thanda. The thing dollars. Dinin shuk gya jora. Shuk gya di thanda che di gya hoina dela gya resa. Shuk dinin shuk thing di.
시작 니 니까지 시티데 거기 시티 잡고
He's saying we have to read both the scales.
Okay. The force that I am exerting on this is measured on this spring scale, right?
The thanda ngi shuk gya dollars. Shuk khajo gya yo medi thanda ngajo che dela thonga ras.
Do we agree?
Can we do US?
Okay.
Yes.
So, rather than having my finger
You see the evidence that this was pulling on me.
Dila du di thingi yume jura, di thingi yume digi, tabi dela doas
Yeah.
pangdabi.
And so the force that I'm exerting on this is equal to the force that this is exerting on my finger.
Ta thanda digab su ni zugu ima ta shu gya dera. Shu khazu gya nangshi di ngobo digi ni zugu kala shu gya yorwas.
At every instant,
Yes.
뭐고 뛰고 큰 저기 걸어 시작을 알았어라.
Ta thingi yora thanda. Thendu shu gya du kala shu khazu gya nangshi ngobo digi zugu di kala pha shu gya yorwas la.
this force
Yes.
is changing as I'm pushing.
Di shu di gyo ru do sangi khazu thwa ina.
But at every instant, the force that I'm exerting on this is equal to the force that this is exerting on my finger.
Dila du ta ngi shu chembu thenare chunju thenare shu khazu gya yona ra. Di khazu gya zugu di khazu gya nangshi di ngobo di ni di zugu di kala shu gya yorwas chi go chi kya.
뭐고 디
ngobu digi da shu gya di hala zugu shu gya go ra thanda chiko chi kya ngobu digi zugu gal gya yor was
지지 야디 러치도
Okay,
ola so samalo
this was a very surprising result, wasn't it?
di da jumde thyen di hang san do sh do sa
So, here in the four situations, we will pick the one that is consistent with our experiment.
ta thanda ne dang shi do dinala di shi ni nganzu khari tambur law na thanda ngaro je tak je chwe shi sung khari thyen ba di jumde di dangi yes
So, chikpa, chikpa. Very surprising.
hang san re do lasti
Why is this? Why is this so? Why is it that our intuition told us otherwise?
khari chin re las ngaran su ni ni samlu lo ash tang ra de de ta manda ji khari chin ni chor res khari chin ni sam res de khandes khari chin ni res khari kena so we feel that heavier the object or more weight the person has, he has more force.
Heavier the object, more weight, more force.
Ta ngazu khari samla na ngobu de jigo khagas che na digas ki shug mang ayore di samruas.
Or Bryce is not as heavy as I am, and so I will push him and he's going to go farther on the skateboard than I will.
Dila de ani ngazu ki tada ngarani durwe kapsu Bryce shug yang ayora di indu kala ni tada follow you di tanda you just you the skateboard di kan you kala phasu bidu kala Bryce ma pha dures ngarasu samlo ne di kheros.
So we are concentrating on the effect, not on the cause.
Dila dual nganzu yurim do dang jora dila thunang ma chi che shugen dil rang thunang chi dires.
We concentrate on the effect of the forces, which is more motion for Bryce, and therefore we want to say there is a greater cause on Bryce.
Dila du nganzu ta ken da ta shugen laura dita du gal gyuda ken dita shugen ta du gala shugen dila thunang che che du gala ta price la shug manga ke du gala price ku jotangir la jora di shugen thunang shug che te res ngarazu.
But that is not necessarily correct, as we saw.
Dila du gala ta khadu na demba tak ta stigi umaris ting ngarazu ta ji gyuni thong so astanda.
Because Bryce is like the small whiteboard,
Ta pe shawai na price khari ro chungu pe shawur lawana thanda carbon chunga jua di ro chagi res.
and I can exert the same force and move it,
Dila du gala shuk chejung chikwa chikyan gyani carbon chunga di pujotang thu roas ni.
and I can exert the same force on Stamatis and not move it.
Thang na shi ta di pe shawai na stamatis to chagi res. Shuk thagaran chikwa chikyan gya yorde in stamatis pujotang yu mares.
So we just discovered one of the laws of the universe.
Dila du ta jigden kham negi ten tim chik ngaran su thanda ngaran su sanyi chung yores she yores di korla.
So forces always arise in pairs.
Dila du shuk ta du khaduina shuk de zo cha cha yo res.
I cannot speak of my force
Dila du gala ke shuk ke je shi du gala ngi shuk la ni dili she thwe yo mares.
because that force is not mine.
Kais na shuk di ngi cha yo mares.
That force arises from interactions between two objects.
Dila du shuk de khane thungyu la wa na ngobo ni nyam do thei ra de ga zo shuk de thugyu res.
So when I exert a force on the other object,
Ta ngarang gi pha ngobo shemba chil shuk gya wa inas.
the second object exerts a force on me
Ngobo shemba di ngarang la tsur la shuk ji gya yo res.
that is equal in strength as mine,
Ni shuk de khande yo la wa na shuk gi che jo ra ngi khal pha kha jo gya wa de chik ba chi gya yo res tsula.
and opposite in direction.
Ine chol la ta wa na do cho res.
So I am pulling this way,
Ni gi tsu thing yo res. Su jo
and
thing
at
da.
that instant, Bryce is pulling me that way.
Dila du cho do cho yor la ra. Tsu ngi gi tsu thing yo wa na pha jo shuk di gi pha thing yo res pha jo do cho thing da.
I hit the wall, so I'm pushing the wall this way, the wall is pushing me back that way.
Ta thanda chik ba lak ba ndi shu so di shu du gala ni gi pha bi yo res. Bi jo pha ta yo ra tha na shi chik ba di gi tsu la bi yo res.
You did many experiments where you tried to violate this law.
Kiran zo ita je mangbu ji che res. Dinal thanda di tentim di da gewe che thapshi mangbu ji che res.
But no matter how you held the springs, no matter who was pulling, and no matter how much they were pulling, you always got the same result.
Ta kiran zo the thapshi mangbu che res shuk che the da ya chunga the da inde chini thapshi mangbu ji tak je mangbu ji che res. Khane mo khande the bai nai thanda spring ni do di jel che ni gala angi chik ba thung do shuk chik ba thung res shuk se di.
And even if it's moving this way, or if it's moving this way, or this way, or this way, the two springs always have the same result.
Tsu the bai na re pha the bai na re gang la the bai na re won the bai na re khari ta wai na ta je shi du gala che di ta du gala che ni ga chik ba chik thung res.
We use the word law to refer to this principle.
Dila du digi ta thanda chui jora dodang di ni anjo gi thangi tentim la ni shagyu res dila dodang dila.
And we call this a law of nature.
Di anjo rangjung khang gi tenting laura da chim lo dende roji chagyu res.
And one way to think about that is this is a theory that we have tried to violate, we've tried to break, but we can't seem to break it.
Ta di namsha imbi ga sung anjo chi khari chi orla na thanda di khari shewa di dila gewe che thapshi mangbu ji chigyu res ine che tu yo mares.
So it gets this special title, like a degree.
Dila du gala anjala khorangi ta khorim do laura ne ji thop du gala yalle du res tentim cha du res.
And we call this Newton's third law.
Di tentim ji do ajila anjo khari lawa la na Newton gi tentim sumba la ni sha res.
Yesterday, well, I'll wait until you finish writing.
Thanda thisam da dis ko sos. In
Can you maybe read it out in Tibetan? That way people in the back can also hear it.
데레샤 슈드즈가 그래는 안에 차분형 차차요 에세스가 안에 밑에 뭐고 당고디고 뭐고 니발 슈기자고 디세 뭐고 니바디가 뭐고 당비고 슈제고 에스 슈니가 가셔되나 독쇼레스 라 가셔되나 독쇼레스 얘네야 슈체드 슈제 하게 그냥 말레스 그때도 디티
This is worth having in your notebooks.
di kiran zo chideb nal mapa bai na yapu res di.
So maybe if you're sitting in the back during tea break or just before you go to tea, you can come and write this down if you can't see.
Ta gyab la shunge do kesi sig me wa ina anjel soje parsing na di ma shu sharo chis.
We can also move this closer to you.
Kenan zo nyero tang osi.
Yesterday, there was a big truck that came to deliver rocks to the science center.
Tanda nga zo cheri khan yora de tene khan la kesa truck chile sons truck di nang lo do mang bush khile shas.
And they went off the road to unload.
Langai thane ni tanda ma do di ma pap sons.
But because of the rain, there was mud and it got stuck there.
Le langa ni kyo ni ma do sons khain la na chaw phabra damba dos an di langai thani ma kyo on do sons.
So they brought machines and tied it with chains to pull it out.
Tila du tap ma langai thala yuro dojil ma kharin sara di indugal ta thengora di theng la ni machine thuje khile sons theng la.
It took them hours to move it out of the mud.
Ta danda damba la khar shagon da damba la khar dugal thengora da di theng la ni chuju chik thas por sons.
Huge truck full of rocks.
Dila du nanglo do kang she yo truck chimbu che ni di theng kha bu chin suslas.
But the force that the chain was exerting on the truck was equal in strength to the force that the truck was exerting on the chain.
Tila du tanda truck di theng thapshi chira di che du gala phaju thuje digi khaju the baina thana shi truck digi chula shup tharang gya yo res kimal da chain chakda ji yusara di pha shup ni ga chik pachik yan cha de res digal.
As the truck was coming here, before it got stuck in the mud,
Ta damba la ma khar mu la chu yong dus truck di.
there were little insects that were flying in front of the truck.
Ta de ma yong mu la tanda langa lo yong de du gala truck gi du la khar du la na bu chunju ni bang bu chkhor de shas.
And the truck hit them
Bu den zul ma tunga ja sun truck di.
and killed them.
Bu den se sha sun thu de truck di.
But the force that the truck exerted on the insect was equal in strength to the force that the insect exerted back on the truck.
Dila du ni ga dunga gyara di gya du gala truck digi shu khazu ma gyawa budil gyara di shu khazu gyawa nang shi budigi truck la chu gyaya res shu di.
So we need to look at causes and not just be guided by the effects.
Dila du nganzu ta khadu na shu gen di chipula ma ta che digi ken de gyujura dil ta we res.
So let's go to tea and think about this, and we'll see you in half an hour.
Andanda suje personal di thoti samlo tang ro ches ani de chu chaga jela kyar du je yons.
We're going to continue with Newton's third law.
Ta tanda Newton gi tentim sumba jiwa di mu thuni du yins.
And one of my goals, and maybe also Samaras' goals for you, is when you go out in the world and you look around, you can see Newton's third law everywhere.
Ta ngara imba ina re samara simba ina kiran zo imba nire chidang onzo chil ngopo jigden ta ga dura chidang gi kora gyadu gala Newton gi tentim sumba khawa ina thong de cha de resti.
In fact, you don't even need to leave the room to see Newton's third law.
Ta injimin chilo lo dogwa yo mares khangba tharan de kap so ngaran zo ita Newton gi tentim sumba di thoya yo res.
Right now, I am pushing down on the floor.
Ta cha sha na thanda ro cha sha na price khura imba ina ma thanda nga zo sa jura dil ma bigu yo res.
And the floor is pushing up on me.
Thanda shi sa di chu ya bigu yo res.
In fact, everybody in this room individually is pushing down on the floor.
Thanda shi changma su ne chik chikal shu yo ra su gi ma bigu yo res sala.
And the floor is pushing back up on them.
Thanda shi ta mashallah la na sala na digi ya chu lo su bigu yo res thanda shi.
What evidence do we have that the floor is pushing on Bryce?
Ta thanda shala digi ya bigu yo la jura di ani dil pang da khari yo res. Because you are not sinking inside the ground.
Because I'm not sinking into the ground. Right.
I don't think that that is good evidence.
Di pangda yakuch thong mundu sa.
The reasoning that you used also was based on motion.
Thanda kiran chugi ta pangda di thanda kiran chugi ya samlo tang du gala khari gal samlo tang shlana yogu da de samlo tang shas.
So let's go directly to the evidence that we have agreed upon.
Ta pangda khande ji godula na ngara jungwe ni changma gi methu yu jura di da de pangda ji go yes.
We said that the evidence that I am exerting a force on the chair is that the chair is squished.
Ta nga junge la pesun ji ta imbas di kopja del ma bi imba bije tang du gala khari dula na ma chir ru ya ning yu do thong du as di pangda ro as ngela.
And the evidence that the chair is pushing on me is that my fingertips are squished.
Thana shi kopja di chu bi yu di khari ha ko gur la na manju zu di ma chir di jo su kaw cha yu di ha ko do as pangda ji.
So I go down here and I look at the soles of the shoes.
Thande kangbe gi thanda hango gi di jua thak thil di raw da di sol dil ta oina dil ta ni pangda ni ruas chi.
And the soles of the shoes are squished.
An thanda hango I thi jura di ma chir sha jo thong res.
So that is the evidence that the ground is pushing up on Bryce.
The di khari pangda chayur lawaina thanda ma shala di chu bi yu jura di pangda di chadu res.
When you sit on the cushions, it's quite easy to see that the cushion changes shape.
Tikran jo shugden ga shudu gala ma shuwe kap so khaji du di yib di jo du dos.
So that is the cushion pushing back on you.
Di la du yib di jo du khari tungur lawaina thanda shugden di chu bi yu aj tungur res.
Because you're pushing on the cushion.
Thana shi kerangi ma bi re ni shugden di chu bi yu di tungur res.
So we hope that you can start to see Newton's third law everywhere.
Dila du ane Newton gi tendim sumba di khawa yina thwa yo ju resti.
Maybe the only way not to see it is to close your eyes.
Ninji mi je thong goya di chibu ke shi umars mi gi thwa mik sumba ina ge thanda di chore ha ku res.
Or to be in a very dark room.
Khangba na hu na gyang ji ba ne tende ji ba ne keran ju ha ku res tendim sumba di.